Now we're taking you to the University of Ghana, where the Alumni Celebrity Platform is having a lecture in which this guest speaker is the former Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Osu Efriye Akoto. Let's take you to Lagos now.
My cat joined Twitter last month. Now he's a lion. Charlie, them tension Twitter CEO himself, he delayed the app. But you see, I'm here today to talk about us. In recent years, a lot has been going on for us. You see, our moms used to pray for us, and now we also pray for us. Young ladies pray for us, and young men pray for us to be fat. Oh Lord, bless us in this life. Let always be soft life. Even in the hereafter, let us still be soft. In times of hardship, when our banana is ripe, let us enjoy the fruits of our labor. Let us eat it all. In times of cold, when our blood is freezing and you see us shaking, clothe us with your tender touch. Grab us so we unite in orchestrating the kindling of hellfire.
Thank you. Sustained applause. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I live in Accra. But you don't have capital. I do have capital. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are gracious to have the hallmaster for this prestigious Mensa Sabbath Hall. And I would like to invite Dr. Roger Atinga to give us a welcome address. Put your hands together for her.
Distinguished speaker of this occasion, the special guest of honor who has now become the chair, Madam Dr. Grace Bediako, all invited guests, my colleagues and fellows of our great hall, Mensa Sabbath Hall. I can see a lot here this afternoon. My dear students of our great hall, who are keeping the place live. All invited guests, members of the university community, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to this special occasion of this Alumni Celebrity Guest Lecture. Somebody met me yesterday and asked me that Sabbath Hall, you are always fond of crafting things in a very unique way. We know of the university, will call them guest lectures, but you tell me it's Alumni Celebrity Guest Lecture. What is celebrity about it? I told him that we are the youngest hall of the university, but we are teaching the elders what to do. Look at these four personalities. Is it not power packed? Isn't it? People of substance and clouds. And I'm sure the Lord will bless us with the president of the land. Aren't we going to be proud about that? We are. So we are proud to have you, Honorable, in our midst. 60 years as a whole in teaching and nurturing knowledge, honor, and service has been both a good experience and then a challenging task. The hall has come a very long way within the 60-year period. And you know, it said 60 years the age of retirement. So once you are retired and you're at home, we need to celebrate you. And that's why we are placing special emphasis on this 60th anniversary, because Sabbath Hall has actually achieved a lot within the 60-year period. And now is the time to revitalize marshal our resources and come together to celebrate the hall for all the achievements over the years. We have produced most of the statesmen in this country. We have produced distinguished lawyers. We have produced distinguished politicians. We have produced distinguished or accomplished academia. What else can we talk about? If the landlady of this university passed through that hall, what else can we talk about? I think is that an opportunity to revisit the past and be proud of ourselves and to continue to write the history together. 60 years is the period that we need to reflect and then say that it's time to also reassess the hall and see what best or in what capacity we can do to help the hall. And that's why we have outlined a number of activities to celebrate the anniversary. One of them is this alumni celebrity guest lecture. We have had a lot of events within this week. The students have had a lot of colorful celebrations. It was characterized by Girls Corner. Then yesterday we had what is called
All right, so we'll take you back to the University of Ghana campus for this lecture. But in the meantime, let's do something on the cues and lyrics, because this week, or today, we would have the finals of the event. It's been running for some weeks now. Some people are in the final. We don't know who will win, but what's going to happen there? Ibrahim Ben Bracon is a member of the Joy Entertainment, and he is a member of the Cues and Lyrics team. And you call him IB. I'm told the finals will be coming off tomorrow. IB, how are you doing?
I'm good.
And how has it been like for these weeks that you've been going through this process?
Well, it's been amazing hosting all the 12 contestants, but now 7 fell off, and now we're left with 5 for the finals.
Okay.
5 are really prepared for it. Yesterday we went for the final rehearsal, and believe you me, what I saw blew me off. I saw them having an unplugged when I hosted them away from the last eviction. After the last eviction show, they gave a spectacular unplugged show. But yesterday, at the finals, with legendary Akable, Akable was the one who, he's the one, his band is going to play the finals.
Not Joseph Akable.
No, not Joseph, not the reporter. I'm talking about the most legendary African guitarist from Ghana, Akable. Yes, he had a good rehearsal with them yesterday. The 5 contestants, that is Lemuel, Kwabena Mafasa, Lovette, TM Music, and Tragan. They were just off the hook. It is giving me an insight that Saturday at Silicon House Production, it is going to be an experience that you will never forget. But the 11 weeks or 13 weeks or so, because we had 11 weeks fixing every every episode, and they've had like 2 weeks to actually get everything right for the final. So
they act together for the final, the big day itself.
Well, all this time it's been a roller coaster of emotions. I never thought that there will be a time me, the host, a contestant will be leaving, and I will have mixed feelings that, ooh, I wish this guy is not going. So you build up something, the guys gets to learn, they get to grow, you see a wonderful growth in value and their performance-wise, their vocals, and then on all of a sudden, they have to be evicted, and it dawns on you. I never thought I was going to be affected, but it's been a beautiful experience. It's been an experience of growth. It's been an experience of these contestants adding value onto themselves with the grooming that they've been going through, all the rehearsal that they've had, the pep talks that they've been having, and also the masterclass that they've gone through. So it should tell you that they are ready. Yesterday, Akable told me one thing, that hey, I think the industry has 5 more talent. I've seen this.
And that's heavy.
When he told me, I was held aback because I know his worth. And if you should tell me that the industry has 5 more talent, then I was like, okay. So at least Cues and Lyrics, we did something with the contestants.
Sure. Is it open to the public tomorrow?
It's free. Very open to the public. Another thing too is it's going to be live on Joy Prime.
Oh.
So those of you who are not in Accra,
Yeah.
or those of you who won't be anywhere close, but you will be close to your TV set, please make sure you do watch live on Joy Prime. But if you can come there for the experience.
I'll be in Takrady, so I'll probably go to our friend and I'll call me.
Oh,
and
well,
then we can watch it.
Then watch with Dan Kwame, the master plan for me. But I wish you will be there. So if you're talking about it with me or Becky on any of the entertainment segment, so you will also be able to tell your experience.
You know what? I have lived it.
Oh,
because I've been there for some time, so I know how it's going to be, and I know that once I'm going to watch on Joy Prime, I will get every angle.
Oh,
so,
yeah, you are getting 360 angle.
So you can, you know. All right. So what time is it starting tomorrow?
It's starting 8 p.m. By 7 p.m. everybody should be seated.
Okay.
And because it's going to be live, we wouldn't want people walking,
to be moving. Okay.
Yeah, moving up and down.
So be seated by 7.
7 p.m. everybody should be seated. 7 p.m. Latest 7 p.m. everybody should be seated.
Where's Silicon Production anyway?
Silicon Production. You see, when you come from Achimota, Tesano Baptist Church.
Okay.
Just before the Shell filling station.
Okay.
After Tesano Baptist Church, there's a right turn.
Yeah.
When you take that right turn, you go in like 20 meters. Sun Lodge Hotel will be on your left.
Okay.
Go straight. So when you take the right turn, like 150 meters, Silicon House Production will be on your right.
Okay. You can even use Google Maps as well to get to
Silicon
to
House
there.
Production on Google Map. It will take you
there.
right there.
Wow. All right. Any words for our sponsors?
Well, yes. Syntax Tank. Syntax Tank is strong. It's actually tough. Well, they have been making sure that every week, ever since it started in April, we have come your way. And also not only Syntax Tank, also Ghana 8 Commission. And the winner is having a full paid expense trip by Advocacy Travel.
Yes.
So
Okay.
apart from the 20,000 Ghana cedi, the 1 year recording deal, 1 year distribution deal, they're also going away for a period of time at a beautiful destination. Travels is doing.
Okay.
So many thanks to all our sponsors. Syntax Tank is strong. It's actually tough. Ghana 8 Commission. Condomless sex is risky, so please, if it is not on, it's not in. And that's it travels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because I also you're strong that don't
you're strong. You're tough.
Top all the best. So that's Ivy for Ibrahim Ben Bracco. Well, Ibrahim Ben Bako. You call him IB. Well, thank you so much, and all the best to the contestant tomorrow. But let's take you back to the University of Ghana campus where Dr. Efriye Owusu-Akoto, the former Agric Minister, is expected to be addressing the Vikings Alumni Celebrity Platform lecture. Back to Lagos now.
It is not about when we were here. We started Lagos. So Madam started Mensa Sabah. They started Mensa Sabah. It wasn't like, dog, when you were here. It wasn't like that. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the topic today, exploiting agricultural diversification to fund economic development in Ghana. And if you look at that smiling face, Vikings Alumni Celebrity Platform lecture, and that's where the concern is, celebrity. It's not anybody who can give a lecture, but somebody who is a scholar, who indeed is in the academia, and of course is also a celebrity. We are live on Joy 99.7. We are also streaming on Radio Universe and of course broadcasting from Radio Universe. We are also live on Oman 107.1. For those of you at home, you can join us on Dr. Owusu-Efriye Akoto on Facebook. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's always a great privilege for me and an honor to introduce a truly remarkable individual who has dedicated his life to the advancement of this country in various capacities. He's a visionary leader, he's a scholar, and a true champion of farmers across the world. A single individual who has left an impressive mark on the landscape of agriculture in Ghana and other parts of the world. Give him this room, he will turn it into a plantation, or maybe a coffee farm. His academic journey began at the prestigious University of Ghana here, where he obtained a bachelor's degree in agriculture. He furthered his studies and earned a master's degree in agricultural economics from the United States International University in Nairobi, Kenya. His quest for knowledge led him to the Harvard University, where he completed with doctorate in agriculture economics. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with a burning desire to make a difference in the lives of farmers and the agricultural sector as a whole, he returned to Ghana after completing his PhD. He began his career as an esteemed lecturer here. Doc, did you lecture here as well? Okay, I was surprised. But you can be a very good lecturer. I guess so. But he was the former Member of Parliament for Akufo-Addo constituency. And he held that position and brought enormous development to Akufo-Addo. Today, and I'm glad that Dr. Atinga mentioned that, the Planting for Food and Jobs. The Planting for Food and Jobs is his biggest flagship program of the New Patriotic Party, and he is the creator of the Planting for Food and Jobs. Put your hands together for him. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, his contribution to agriculture is there for us to know. All of us. It's not just in Ghana, but in other parts of the world. The United Nations, the global institutions have all given him accolades and given him credit for his initiatives in the agriculture sector. Beyond that, he's a man with genuine humility. He's a man with integrity and a deep concern for the people that he serves. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our distinguished speaker, our distinguished lecturer, because today he's giving us a lecture here. So our distinguished lecturer, the man to lead this nation, Honorable Dr. Akufo-Addo, a visionary leader, and a man with enormous integrity and ingenuity.
Please. Could you please resume your seats? The chairperson of this event, Dr. Grace Bediako. Special guests, Professor Irene Susan Ejire, Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture, and Dr. Andrews Ajay Holmes, Research Fellow, Institute of Statistical, Social, and Economic Research. Vikings Alumni President, the Hall Master, and fellows of Mensa Saba Hall, the alumni of Mensa Saba Hall, students of Mensa Saba Hall, and other students of the University of Ghana, friends of the media, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The alumni of Mensa Saba Hall have bestowed on me a great honor by choosing me to give the celebratory platform lecture this year. The honor takes up greater significance as today's event forms part of the 60th anniversary celebration of Mensa Saba Hall. I therefore owe a debt of gratitude not only to the Alumni Association, but also to the authorities of Mensa Saba Hall and the University of Ghana. When I arrived at the Porter's Lodge of Mensa Saba Hall in September 1969, the hall was only 10 years old, and I was only 19 years old when I came to pursue my first degree in agriculture. To think that the hall has traveled another 50 years since I first entered its portals is in itself remarkable. But more significantly, the enormous contribution the Hall has made to the development of our nation, Ghana, is something to be very proud of. The impact that the products of the Hall has made in all spheres of our national life is worth documenting in detail for posterity. As an institution, Mensa Cyber Hall has achieved a lot, not only in the field of academia, but also in the field of human development, sports, the arts, and many other areas of human endeavor. These achievements would not have been possible without the active contribution and support of the Alumni Association. I have been following with keen interest the active involvement of the Alumni Association in the affairs of the Hall, and I wish to congratulate the association for the vital role it continues to play in the life of the Hall. Madam Chairwoman, now to the matter before us this afternoon. The subject of this lecture is exploiting agricultural diversification to fund economic development in Ghana. Since independence in 1957, Ghana has approached the International Monetary Fund 17 times for emergency financial assistance. That is every 4 years on average. The latest IMF intervention was last year, 2022, with a final agreement reached only in May this year, 2023. At the root of the recurrent IMF intervention is the reliance of the country on mainly foreign debt to finance our development. This reliance stems from the fact that the economy does not generate enough foreign exchange and domestic fiscal revenue to fund our economic development requirements. Historically, the country has relied on a few commodities to generate foreign exchange. For over a century, these were mainly gold and cocoa, and since 2009, oil and gas. The amount of foreign exchange earnings from these commodities depend upon the volumes exported and the prices on the world market. As we all know, the international prices of these commodities are subject to large annual fluctuations, and over the decades, their real values have declined significantly. To counteract the decline in real value of exports, there has been a strong advocacy for adding value by processing the raw commodities before export. But agro-processing is yet to attract the needed investments to boost substantially the foreign exchange earnings from the sector. Madam Chair, I now make the case for agriculture. It is both by evidence and by conviction that agriculture holds the strongest potential to steer Ghana out of poverty, guarantee us food and nutrition security, and also generate the necessary resources for the development of the other sectors of our economy, including industry, health, education, and infrastructure in the medium to long term. Over the years, the performance of the other natural resource activities like mining, oil, and gas have been below expectations. Their potential contribution to the development of the economy has been sharply curtailed by three key issues. One, unfavorable long-term contracts which are almost impossible to alter, retention abroad of most of the export proceeds, and majority ownership held by foreign interests. Gold has been a traditional source of foreign exchange for the Ghanaian economy for generations. In recent years, Ghana has become Africa's #1 producer of gold, yet the economy has been struggling, as we all know. We all held such high expectations when oil production began in around 2009. Sadly, we all now know the fate of the oil industry in Ghana. There is a global economic order emerging as a result of the current economic challenges. Food, renewable energy, water, and big data will drive this new order. Rising global tensions over the Russia-Ukraine war and the recent threats to grain supplies from Ukraine to Africa and the rest of the world threatens Ghana and the continent's food security outlook. We can only look within for food sufficiency in the medium to long term. Over 200 million Africans continue to struggle with food security. This issue has been further deepened by COVID-19, the effects of climate change on agricultural production, political unrest across the continent, macroeconomic instability, and the raging debt crisis that many African governments face. Despite these obstacles, Ghana's agriculture sector has shown immense promise and offers significant opportunities for transforming our economy to provide food and other products to the rest of the world. Brazil, China, Malaysia, Thailand are recent examples of agricultural success stories in driving economic transformation. In recent years, the European Union have substantially improved crop yields through plant breeding techniques, improved farm markets, and improved trading conditions in agriculture. These have contributed to significant increases in world food supplies. The more the threats of the looming global crisis unfold, it becomes increasingly clear that Ghana's political independence, economic transformation, and the survival of its youthful population would depend on robust economy that has agriculture as an unconditional priority. It is encouraging to note that an increasing youthful population yield higher levels of consumption, which must directly convert to advantages that boost local food production and Ghana's economy as a whole. To this end, it is imperative to support smallholder farmers who continue to produce some 90% of our national breadbasket. Ghana's dream of using agriculture as a driver for economic development can be traced as far back as the 1920s, when the then British governor, Gordon Gadgesby, made pronouncements backed by initial investment to diversify the cocoa-dependent Gold Coast by developing other tree crops. Successive governments since then have made various attempts towards agricultural development in this direction. Yet, there has been inadequate commitment to full agricultural transformation that yields the needed significant results to lift the country out of its economic woes. Madam Chair, looking back at the last 6 years of my stewardship of Ghana's Ministry of Food and Agriculture, from January 2017 to January 2023, when I resigned, I will now present my efforts in laying the foundation for Ghana's economic transformation through agriculture. I'm confident that if the foundation laid are built upon, they will lead to a thriving, sustainable agriculture to bring about prosperity for all of us. The foundations come in two parts. The first part are activities with direct interface with farmers and processors to raise the level of agricultural productivity, that is yields and etc., to international standards. And the second is the creation of new institutions with legislative backing to manage and develop targeted subsectors of the agricultural economy. To raise farm productivity, requires direct interface with farmers and other stakeholders in the value chain. To achieve this, I resorted to the technique of branding to popularize the adopted policies. Planting for Food and Jobs was adopted as the brand name. PFJ has 5 modules: the food security, tree crop development, horticulture, livestock, and mechanization. Madam Chair, I want to take these 5 in some detail. Food security. The ministry made significant investment in farm inputs in order to increase productivity that raises incomes of farmers and achieves national food security. In the period 2017 to 2021, the government invested 2.6 billion Ghana cedis in subsidy to procure and distribute 1.4 million metric tons of fertilizer and 93,000 metric tons of improved seeds to more than 1.7 million farmers. This investment generated farm output worth 47.5 billion cedis at the farm gate. This presents a huge economic rate of return on public expenditure under the Planting for Food and Jobs. Under the program, maize yields increased from an average of 1.8 metric tons per hectare to 3 metric tons per hectare. Rice yields increased from 2.7 metric tons per hectare to 4 metric tons per hectare, and soybeans yield increased from 1 metric ton per hectare to 2.5 metric tons per hectare in the same period. In addition, within that period, that is 2017 to 2021, production of maize rose from 1.7 million metric tons to 3.6 million metric tons. That's more than doubled. Rice from 688,000 metric tons to 1.2 million metric tons, and soybean from 143,000 metric tons to 230,000 metric tons over the same period. In 2017, 202,000 farmers benefited from the PFJ subsidy program. But by 2021, the beneficiaries had grown to 1.7 million farmers out of a total population of 3.1 million in Ghana, as captured by the Agricultural Census of 2018, the first conducted in 38 years. Tree crop diversification. As indicated earlier, in 1966, in 66 years, Ghana has approached the IMF on 17 occasions for emergency borrowing. The lesson from our journey with the IMF and bilateral donors is indicative of the urgent need to expand the export earning capacity of the Ghanaian economy to internally generate high value, risk-free funds. In the short to medium term, only the agricultural sector can establish that capacity to achieve sustained rapid economic growth. Under my tenure as the Minister for Food and Agriculture, in 2019, I initiated the establishment of a Tree Crop Development Authority under an Act of Parliament, Act 1010. The TCDA, established in 2020, seeks to coordinate and promote the development of 6 tree crops: cashew, rubber, oil palm, coconut, mango, and shea. The goal of the authority is to develop, produce, and distribute the selected cash crop seedlings to farmers free of charge, so as to produce and generate a combined potential of export earnings between $6 to $12 billion per year after 8 to 10 years of implementation. At their full development, an additional 6 to 12 billion per year in earnings can substantially increase the less than 1.5 billion annual earnings from cocoa, the current highest foreign exchange earner for Ghana for over a century. The TCDA was designed to receive a seed fund of $15 million in the first 3 years of its creation. Unfortunately, in its current third year of operation, it has so far received only $3 million, equivalent to 20% of the capital needed since its establishment in 2020. I'm glad to hear that last week the World Bank has announced funding to support TCDA, an aspect of Ghana Cocoa Board's activities, to the tune of $200 million. By prioritizing the tree crop subsector alone, Ghana will be weaned off its financial dependency on the IMF and other bilateral donors. If Ghana had started this journey decades ago, the country would have been closer to achieving Ghana Beyond Aid. Madam Chair, at this juncture, I would like to make reference to our good neighbor, Cote d'Ivoire. Although that country has not fully realized its potential, it has made significant achievements in this regard. Cote d'Ivoire's total annual export earnings from the 5 cash crops, cashew, cocoa, coffee, rubber, and oil palm, fetches the economy of Cote d'Ivoire some $8 billion every year. Compared to less than $2 billion Ghana earns from the same crops, including cocoa. So you see how far back we are on this journey to realize our agricultural potential. In addition, to further enhance income and job creation from its own major export earner, cocoa, the ministry established the National Cocoa Rehabilitation Program. Launched in 2020, the NCHP has been designed to put in measures that support the private sector to scale up cocoa production, expand local cocoa processing, promote market expansion of the export of cocoa products into new markets for vigorous promotion to boost domestic and international consumption. Even at this initial stage, the NCHP has achieved some significant success, although inadequate. Thousands of farmers who had abandoned their cocoa farms due to the devastating effect of cocoa swollen shoot virus disease returned to their farms. As of 30 September 2022, a total farm area of 56,343 hectares had been fully treated across the cocoa growing regions of Ghana. When fully implemented, the National Cocoa Rehabilitation Program should boost production and generate increased foreign exchange earnings from cocoa. Horticulture. The construction of greenhouse training centers which with attached commercial units is a key job and value creation tool for Africa's economic development. Under my leadership, we constructed 3 greenhouse training centers with an attached commercial unit at Dawinya, Akumadan, and Bogiasi in the eastern region for training 537 youth in high-quality vegetable production. These vegetables are sold to high-end shops scattered across various cities in Ghana, including Palace Mall, ShopRite, Starbite, KFC, Burger King, in Tema, amongst others. And as part of efforts to attract the youth into agriculture, 540 youth trainees and students from various tertiary institutions were sent to Israel for an 11-month paid internship to gain practical experience in modern farming practices. The young beneficiaries have been assisted to set up their own farm enterprises. Madam Chair, another area for development in Ghana's agricultural sector is a livestock subsector, which plays a significant role in the provision of proteins in our food, which is critical to the health of the country. Under my watch, Ghana's veterinary services have seen substantial improvements. Works done included the installation of new laboratories, re-equipment of old ones, and the recruitment of 500 additional veterinary personnel. The poultry industry faces various challenges. Key amongst them is the high cost of feed and the high importation of cheap poultry products onto the market in Ghana. There is a double-edged solution to this. The first is to regulate the importation of chicken and other meat products, and secondly, to address the cost of feed. This will be tackled as a major responsibility of the incoming Grains Development Authority, which I will speak about later. To this end, the ministry prepared a proposal for the establishment of a Poultry Development Authority to equip and promote growth in the sector. Agricultural mechanization. The Ministry of Food and Agriculture since 2017 have imported and received and distributed a total of 12,200 pieces of agricultural machinery, equipment at 40% CIF subsidy to farmers. This was a decision taken by the Akufo-Addo government to subsidize farm machinery to the tune of 40% of the landed price of agricultural machinery imported into Ghana. The machinery includes tractors, harvesters, irrigation equipment, food processing, and post-harvest management equipment. Additionally, a tractor assembling plant is being established near Ejuso in Kumasi in the Ashanti region. Processes have been concluded with the Exim Bank of India under my initiative to provide a facility to import $150 million worth of farm and agro-processing machinery. Shipments are expected to commence by the end of this year, 2023. Of the machinery so far received, 32 district assemblies and selected private sector operators have benefited from a scheme to revive the agricultural mechanization centers and provide hiring services to both small and large-scale farmers. In addition to these interfaces with the farmers, as I mentioned earlier, alongside that is the creation of new commodity institutions with legislative backing. We've already spoken about the Tree Crop Development Authority, but there are quite a few authorities that are in the pipeline. The Grain Development Authority is one of them. The ministry prepared a proposal for cabinet approval, and a bill has since been submitted to Ghana's parliament for the establishment of the Grain Development Authority. This bill seeks to amend the Grain Development Authority Law of 1970, Act 324. The Grain Development Authority will be a regulatory body for the grain subsector, responsible for research and development, production, marketing, and exports. Another key role of the incoming Grain Development Authority is to make all necessary interventions in the poultry industry to enhance local production and costs, as well as protect the local industry. The GDA will purchase grains at the time of the harvest when prices are low, store the grains, and release them to the poultry farmers and other stakeholders in the value chain in times of high prices. Currently, the export of grains, in particular maize, paddy rice, and soya, to the ECOWAS markets are conducted in the informal sector. The sharp increase in grains production in response to the PFJ has increased exports across our borders to neighboring countries. But unfortunately, Madam Chair, a large part of these trading activities are conducted outside the banking system with circumventing customs regulations and official records. The grain trade with our ECOWAS neighbors could potentially be worth hundreds of millions of US dollars as production and trade continue to grow and trading is brought into the formal economy. One of the urgent tasks of the Grain Development Authority will be to formalize the potential major source of foreign exchange for Ghana. Also in the pipeline are draft cabinet memoranda, which I left at the ministry, for the establishment of the Horticultural Development Authority and the Poultry Development Authority, to give special focus to these subsectors. The ministry also initiated a memorandum proposing legislation requiring all commercial banks to increase loanable funds to agriculture and its value chains. This document was submitted to Cabinet for approval and onward submission to Parliament. The legislation seeks to address the acute shortage of financial credit to stakeholders in the agricultural value chain in this country. We move to other areas of concern. Invest in women in agriculture. May I seek your indulgence, Madam Chair, to present to this audience that the national, continental, and global goal to achieving equality, equity, and inclusion of all women is a critical step for the economic empowerment of all Ghanaian women in all sectors of the economy, including agriculture. The contribution of women in agriculture is extensive and includes the role of providing labor for weeding, planting, harvesting, processing, and marketing. This accounts for up to 70% of food production across the continent. And in the case of Ghana, they contribute to over 70% of food production. Yet many women across the continent involved in farming are plagued with issues of illiteracy, lack of knowledge, and appreciation of technology, land acquisition, and ownership issues, amongst others. It is important for government to prioritize these issues and invest in women. Now I have a few stories to tell in addition to what the Hallmaster said about his neighbor up north. The role of academic institutions such as the University of Ghana in pushing for transformative agriculture is crucial. This reminds me of the uplifting agricultural story of our own university here at Legon. In the 1940s, when the elites in the Gold Coast passionately objected to the findings and recommendations of a British colonial commission favoring the establishment of a university in Lagos over the Gold Coast, a new commission was constituted to reverse the decision. Unfortunately, the post-World War II colonial government could not finance the establishment of the new institution in the Gold Coast, and so the elites embarked on a self-funding drive which attracted contributions from cocoa farmers of the Gold Coast at the time. The cocoa farmers sponsored the initiative because they were certain it would be in their best interest to have a university in the Gold Coast. This initiative gave birth to the University College of the Gold Coast, later named the University College of Ghana, which subsequently became the Independent University of Ghana. As critical as agriculture is, the university established a research-based College of Agriculture as a contributor to the development of the sector in the country, which has immensely benefited a great number of professionals and farmers along the agricultural value chain, including yours sincerely here. Many farmers across the country have yet to receive the much needed technology and the support they need in order to succeed. And I will still refer you to the story told us by the hallmaster of our hall. For instance, Fozia Garaba, one of the many women in Yendi, cannot afford to buy fertilizer, certified seed, or even gain access to higher tractor services for the timely plowing of her land. Most farmers in Ghana do not have access and all the know-how to operate basic farming technologies and systems. Most do not own phones, and some of the few who do may only use it for just making and receiving calls, but not have the know-how to access basic interventions delivered as alerts via SMS to inform them of the weather forecast, available markets for their produce, etc. On the other side, there are stories to celebrate. Last year in Asamankese, I met 2 medical doctors who had hung up their stethoscopes to become full-time farmers. One was a coconut farmer and the other a food crop farmer. I cannot end my stories without sharing one personal experience with the king of the Mamproses, the Nairi, who has been a farmer all his life. In December 2019, when I visited his palace in Nalerugu, he was full of praises for the PFJ. He informed me that for the first time in his community, stocks of new maize, which were being harvested at the time of my visit, had been brought into his barn when old stocks from the previous year, 2018, were still available. In other words, Madam Chairman, the king was acknowledging the success of PFJ program in his kingdom. Now let's move on from the stories to the new paradigm that I'm suggesting, I'm bringing to the table. The critical, I call them the critical success factors. There's an urgent need for things to be done differently if we are to succeed in transforming our agriculture for the prosperity of all. The critical success factors in our transformation agenda will hinge on the following: the political will. Ghana has to prioritize agricultural transformation at the highest level of government through the implementation of a well-defined vision and strategy. The investment needed to achieve sustainable food systems will be non-negotiable in my vision to transform agriculture for prosperity for all. The Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, once said, and I quote, "Everything can wait, but not agriculture," unquote. I now come to the governance structure. In addition to the economic management team headed by the Vice President, there shall be a newly created agricultural management team chaired by the President himself to drive agricultural development. The AMT shall comprise 7 agricultural-related ministries, namely Food and Agriculture, Finance, Trade and Industry, Lands and Natural Resources, Transport, Local Government and Rural Development, and Environment, Science, Technology, and Innovation. To improve supply chain logistics and expand market access, infrastructure, projects such as feeder roads, hospitals, housing, rural electrification, irrigation, storage will be the integral part of the transformation agenda. Significant investment shall be made in big data and technology for precise and evidence-based decision-making in partnership with the private sector. Agricultural policy must be driven by evidence. It is essential that policymakers, farmers, and actors in the value chain are trained to access the benefits of data for decision-making. Precision agriculture that gives farmers the ability to use inputs more effectively to increase productivity will be prioritized. Shall ensure that target users of technology are involved in every stage of the process. This will provide opportunities to empower the youth and create new jobs. Research and development. I shall appropriately fund the research endeavors of the diverse national agricultural research institutions, including the universities, in areas such as agronomy, extension, plant breeding, integrated soil fertility management, integrated pest and disease management, post-harvest management, and climate-smart technologies. We need to curb the effects of climate change and sustain yields in farmers' fields. We must grow crops that are resilient to withstand drought, heavy rains, and heat. sustainable investment in science, technology, and innovation in agricultural development will offer prosperity to all. Now, I shall establish an appropriate regulatory framework to leverage private sector investment across all sectors and promote the efficient distribution of agro inputs. In addition, the regulatory framework will seek to develop platforms for agricultural innovations, output market structures, and incentives that allow for full realization of the value of increased production. Human development. A comprehensive strategy will be adopted to develop human capital needed to take innovation to scale along the agricultural commodity value chain. This will include farmer field schools, demonstration plots, development of agripreneurs, training of agricultural extension agents, and value chain actors to improve efficiency. We shall also support social development programs aimed at reducing illiteracy among rural households and farmers to increase the adoption of new technologies. We shall develop curricula in our educational system that equip students with the mindset, knowledge, and skills for agricultural education. Madam Chair, in conclusion, the importance of the agricultural sector to Ghana's economy can be assessed not only by its contribution to GDP, but also by the high percentage of the employed population in agriculture that represented an important source of income for the large majority of households in this country. We must engage to create commonwealth that sees to the needs of the common people. There is a need for a new innovative business model, value addition, productive scale, stakeholder engagement, including the youth, smallholder farmers, and large-scale farmers, and everyone in the agribusiness value chain for adequate and affordable food and high-value export to fully benefit from the gains of the agricultural sector. My overall vision for Ghana is to achieve agriculture-led growth for the structural transformation of the economy. This will be achieved through creating alternative opportunities for boosting foreign exchange earnings, mechanizing the sector, prioritizing public funding in the sector, improving productivity in smallholder farms, as well as growing other sectors of the economy through revenues generated for a self-reliant, food-secure, wealthy, and healthy nation. Madam Chair, I must reiterate here that agriculture is the means to our end. The Tree Crop Development Authority, the Grain Development Authority, and other commodity institutions outlined in this presentation can together substantially expand our export earning capacity to fund industrial development and finance social sectors including health, education, housing, and roads. Expanding our export earning capacity should reduce our dependence on external borrowing to fund our economic development, as has been the case since independence. Long live the University of Ghana. Long live Mensa Saba Hall. Happy 60th anniversary. Hooray! Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
A standing ovation. A standing ovation.